and welcome to another episode of the If You're Into It podcast. I am Luke and I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, Pheebs.
Hello again. I am going to say co-host correctly this time because I've had a lot of comments roasting me saying, why did you say it like you're from Yorkshire when I'm not in fact from Yorkshire? Co-host. I think it made me sound like so much posher than what I actually was. I was just trying to compete with you, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, my Essex accent.
Yes.
Essex,
innit? Innit, bruv.
Right, bruv?
Absolute mind
go
melt
down Nando's.
there. Yeah, cheeky Nando's. God, I haven't heard that. That's a bit of a throwback, isn't it? Right, so would you like to introduce to everybody what the episode is about
I
this
will.
week?
So off the back of the success of our worst dating stories and stuff like that, we are talking about more dating dilemmas and our other dating failures.
Yeah, I would have to say it's more dating failures than dating successes. I mean,
Yes.
I must have done something right because I got married, so it couldn't have been all bad. But I think people would love to hear as well just stories that we have about the worst dates possible, all of which are 100% true, by the way. So would you like to start by telling what has been, out of all of them you've been on, like the worst?
See, I don't feel I've had any like really, really bad ones. I've had some.
Sure?
I think so. I mean, I've had some that stand out where like I might have mentioned this last time. I met a girl in London and we were going to that winter wonderland.
Yeah, I remember.
And that, I don't know if she took a look at me and was like, nah.
It fell a bit flat.
Yeah, so
the fizzy of the pop died down pretty quickly.
we never even stepped foot in Hyde Park. We just went to Pret and then she left an hour later. So
What? Really?
Well,
Did you pay for the tickets for Winter Wonderland as well?
no, this was when it was free.
Oh, that was a long time ago now. A long time ago.
Yeah, we met, said hello, and she's like, oh, I have to leave in an hour because of this issue at my flat. I was like, oh, so there's no point going in Winter Wonderland for an hour.
Did she say what the issue was?
I can't.
Burst pipes.
It might have been like, oh, it's a pipe or an electrical thing, or
It always is.
Yeah,
always the pipes.
something like that. So yeah, we just sat in Pret and
What did you have in Pret? What did you have to eat? Let me judge you.
I don't think we even ate. I think this was before I drank coffee as well. So I would have had like a water or a Coke or like some fizzy pop.
Oh, good Lord.
And she might have had a coffee and something, but yeah,
so she had a bit more sophistication than you.
Yeah, she was more classy
You were
than
just
me.
sat there with your single water. She took one look at you with your water and she thought, nah, this guy's broke.
Nah.
That's why she wanted to leave for. She's like, I'm not going out with this broke guy. Didn't want to take me to Winter Wonderland. I've got a burst pipe.
I was quite happy to go to Winter Wonderland, but she was like, oh, I've got to go in an hour, so there's just no point. So yeah, we sat and made really bad, awkward small talk for an hour.
God.
Both said goodbye, went our separate ways, and never spoke to each other.
And that was it?
There was no message after that. I think we were just both like, peace.
So, quick question. Did she was this a Tinder date or?
I think so.
Times before Tinder? Was there a time before Tinder?
I think it was a Tinder, because I don't really remember when I hopped on any of the other apps.
Yeah, I've only ever been on Tinder. I don't think I've ever been on any of the other ones. Or my dating stories were so long ago. This was the times where you just met people organically and you just got chatted up in a pub.
In the wild?
Yeah,
What?
in the wild.
In the wild?
Just like people throwing their Pokeballs at me. You've caught a wild Pheebs.
What is this?
I know, yeah, that was really good. I'm literally just picturing you guys like sitting though in the Pret, no food.
In a very busy Pret, because it's by Hyde Park.
Right.
And yeah, just awkward small talk, and then it's cool. Nice to meet you.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
See you never.
Pretty much.
So, I know what you said, obviously you met through like a dating site, so she would have seen pictures of you beforehand.
Yeah.
Were you catfishing her?
No.
No.
I hope not.
I think were they just really good pictures and then she seen you and she's like, nah, he ugly. Did she look like her pictures and stuff like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
like there was no like catfishing or anything going on. I think it was just either a change of heart or she genuinely had to go and just the rest of the date was just so awkward. We were both like, Nah, call it there.
It was absolutely 100% lies, though, if she was just like, yeah, I've got to go. Sorry, my cat's died. I've got a burst pipe. My grandma's died for the 20th time this year. It's just like all the old shtick I've like heard before. I mean, to be fair, though, I went on once, and this was a canny few years ago now because I was at university. And it's a little bit similar to yours, except it had a more slightly traumatic ending. So clearly, this date was so bad, I actually just blocked this out of my memory. So I can't even remember the guy's name. Thank God for him, because he would absolutely be getting somewhat exposed. So I met him on Tinder, because that's the only dating site like I've ever been on. So I would have been maybe 19 or something, because I was in my first year of uni. And he was quite cool. He was a bit like eccentric. I remember he had like bleached blonde hair, and I liked that because I was big into like Draco Malfoy at the time. I was like, ooh, yes.
Turn up, slick back, bleach hair,
Tom
robes.
Felton, ooh. Like me just like holding myself back, like, no, this isn't you, like full on like just ripping my flesh prison open to reveal a werewolf inside of them. Yeah, I thought he was like really good looking, and he had decent crack. And he was telling me he was like a barber and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, cool, because you think of barbers, and I thought of like independent barber shop, like the cool, you know, like rolled up sleeves and tattoos and stuff. And he did have like tattoos and stuff in his picture. He had like a septum ring. If you both have septum rings, you're meant to be together, basically. It's just like, I could never. I mean, I'm married to a man without a septum ring, but old me was really into piercings, facial especially nose ones. So anyway, we agreed to meet it was the old Starbucks in Durham. It's now like the Marriott Hotel. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know why they got rid of it, but that was like the posh Starbucks, like the upper class one. I thought, I'm going to impress him and meet him there instead of like the one over the other side, which isn't nearly as grand. So I was waiting outside, and I remember it was absolutely pouring down with rain. I had like my umbrella and stuff, and I was thinking, where the hell's he at? Because he was one of those people where, do you know where you'd easily be able to distinguish them because of like the pictures?
Yeah.
Where like, you know, I would have recognised him straight away. And then I feels this tap on my shoulder, and I turned around. I have never been on a date with a guy shorter than me, and he told me he was like 5'10". Now, height for me isn't an issue, and I don't know why he felt the need to lie about it, but why have your height in your bio considering I'm only 5'2", and he told me he was 5'10", and turned up and was like, I was on a date with Frodo Baggins. It was just like, and you know, I like Frodo Baggins, but I was thinking, why did you lie?
That feels like especially quite a big height difference to.
Oh yeah.
Lie about.
And he must have known, because I almost audibly gasped. I got like a shock because I just thought like, why are you so small for? It was a bit of a shock to me, really. But yeah, so I said hello, and I was very polite, and I didn't dare bring up this very obvious height difference because I didn't want to make him embarrassed. I'm a very sometimes polite person. So we went into Starbucks, and he was very, you know, he was a proper gent. He got me like a coffee and stuff, and we sat down. And this man just proceeded to just be the polar opposite of the persona that he portrayed online. So online, he was very like charming, he was nice, it was just a lovely guy. And this guy sat across from me, he may as well have been Draco Malfoy, because he was just full on deranged with a capital D. Like, this man was just like, I don't know how to describe it, he was just like unhinged, and he was really, really rude. And there was like obviously a lot of students that would like come to Starbucks. And I'm not joking when I said, I felt like he was on like, do you know that program, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy? Like that. He was like full on Queer Eye in them, where he was just critiquing all of these people's looks and outfits as if he was like a fashion show commentator when they were coming in. And I was sat there thinking, he's probably like sat there like secretly critiquing me and being like really, really harsh. So I was just mortified. And anyway, we ended up going to this like Italian restaurant afterwards, and it was really nice. It was all like romantic and by the river and stuff. And I just was not feeling it with this guy. Turns out he lied about being a barber. He was
Right.
actually like a women's hairdresser, and he would like do it like, do you know like where you go like round the doors and stuff in your car and stuff like that?
Right, okay.
And then he dumped on me sort of last minute that he actually went round like semi-recently to cut like his ex-girlfriend's hair, and then proceeded to talk about her for like 15 minutes. And I was just like, right, okay, so let me get this straight. You have turned up to this date, right, about 5 foot shorter than what you've said. You have got on skinny jeans so tight, you've left nothing to the imagination. You are wearing a really wild fur coat, and you are carrying what looks like a handbag with you. And I was just like, I don't really know if you are personally the man for me. So I tried to be really polite, and I was like, I've had a really lovely time, you know, thank you very much for taking us out. However, I don't think I want to see you again. And he just took it so badly. He got up in the middle of this very busy restaurant, stood up above me, which wasn't very intimidating because obviously he wasn't very big. It was like watching a child argue with me. Do you know when kids have like strops? And he was like, it's not fair. It was very much like that. And proceeded just to shout all these horrible things at me in front of all of these other people, and then stormed out and left me with the bill.
No.
Yeah.
That's really odd. Like, just there's what the two weird things seem to be just like lying that much about height.
And how you look and how you are as a person.
Yeah, and why? I suppose he sort of is a barber / hairdresser, but it all just feels weird. Why would you lie about? I think why would you lie about yourself in general? To be fair.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah.
But I was obviously really upset because this guy had just left me with a full bill.
Yeah.
I was a poor student at the time, so I could barely afford what I'd got. I'd literally got like a starter for my main and like a water, like you know what I mean, to poor people. And the waitress who'd like seen everything came over and asked me if I was all right, and it obviously had seen what happened. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, but like I generally don't know how I'm gonna pay for like both meals. And a guy off the other table who was like my dad's age was sat with his wife, and he was like, I love northeastern people. He's like, it's all right, Petal. I'll sort the bill for you. I'll pay for it. He was a right wrong and wasn't he? And I was like, Thank you, thank you, kind dad.
Like, can I come home with you?
Yeah, I was just like, take me, I'm yours.
You're now adopting me.
Yeah, it was just so strange.
It's so odd. That is so odd.
Yeah, it was awful. So have you got any more? Surely you can't just have one.
No, there's definitely.
There's 20 back to back.
Yeah, all back to back. Nothing's worked out all this time.
I mean, no, they haven't because you're still single. So evidently they haven't worked out.
I've never had anyone just like walk out like that.
Congratulations, good for you.
I mean, I've had a few. I've had a few that were like ghosted days before. So there was one that was a more recent one as well.
Oh really?
So we were getting along really well. We'd made plans. We're like, oh, so we go here, or so we go there, whatever. And then the day, I think it might have been the day before, or the same week, just unmatched me on the dating app. I was like, oh, like this is really odd. Okay, whatever then. You just reminded me of another similar story actually off the back of this.
We've gone on a tangent. Go for it. Why not?
I'll finish this one. So I was like, well, okay, whatever. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Mm-hmm. But both working in the same city, Newcastle's not that big.
No, it's quite small. Everybody knows each other as well. Like, you always know of somebody, or it'll be like your sister's cousin's best friend's dog or something like that.
Well, there was a time I was walking home with a few people from work, and then someone was walking towards us across the bridge.
Oh, God.
And I looked at him and was like, she looks really familiar. Didn't think anything of it. Just went back to chatting.
Please.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the girl that's just unmatched me.
Oh, God.
Then I think a few more weeks go by, and I came out the gym and turned to walk home, and it's a little bit of a thin pavement.
Right.
And this couple walking towards me, and I was like, I recognise her.
Oh,
That's
no.
the girl. And she was with some fella. And we both made eye contact, and I could see in her face, like, she recognised
Yeah,
me.
instant recognition.
Yeah, like, her face just went like, oh,
Do you
my
know what
God.
I'm picturing it like? Do you know the meme from the Umbrella Academy where they pass each other in the car
The
and they're
two
like...
cars.
That's literally what I'm picturing it like.
A little bit. It was like, I could see on her face, she was like, oh my God. Like, I have to walk directly past him.
I would have mentally died. My brain would have origamied itself and I would have thrown myself off the bridge. The Tyne Bridge. I would have just leapt like a flying squirrel off the Tyne Bridge.
Just seeing her reaction
Right.
was just, that made it so much like sweeter to being like ghosted.
Oh, yikes. So how did she actually like react? Like did she just try and look at the floor? Or
Yeah. Straight away,
a shame.
she saw me head down, didn't raise it until she must have gone past. But
oh, that's absolutely awful.
Inside, I was like,
Get it.
redemption.
You found the last laugh.
Vindication.
Yeah, just like your absolute redemption arc there. Well, you know what? I'm really happy that you got the last laugh in it. I mean, personally, I can't remember. I mean, I've probably blocked like all of these horrendous stories like out of my head. I don't think I've ever been like ghosted before, but I have just had before Chris one bad day after another where everybody jokingly used to call me Tinderella. Because I would go on a different date every week and they were all lovely when I was talking to them, and then I'd meet them and they'd all just be like the polar opposite of like what they said. However, the worst date I'd ever been on, and I still stand by this, like you cannot beat this, and I promise 100% of what I'm going to say is absolutely true, okay? So this was back when I was 18, and this when I was working for Costa Coffee. I don't know if I was still working for Costa when we met, or had I just left? Did I ever tell you that I worked there?
No, I think you must have just left.
I think so, because I just left, I think, when I started my last year at uni. So either I didn't mention it to you, because my timeline's really, really fuzzy, because it's sort of like the multiverse of madness with our stories, and I can't remember where they begin and where they end. But anyway, I'm waffling. I was working at Costa Coffee at the time. I'd started working there when I was 16, and I only used to work like on the weekends and like holidays and stuff. And there was a guy that started working there a little bit after I first started. So I started in like the May. So I was full on doing my GCSEs like through the day, and then learning how to like make like a flat white on a night time. So yeah, I had a bit of an odd life. But yeah, so I remember I started in the May, and then this guy started in like the October of the same year, so sort of around a similar time. And I remember he was like really cool. He was like a literature student at like Durham Uni, and he was Irish, and I'm a sucker for an accent. I am a sucker for an accent. The Irish accent for me is up there with the Kiwi accent, which is number one. So we've got Kiwi, Australian, and then Irish, and then just every other accent basically underneath it. It's like you could be the ugliest man on earth, and if you have any of those accents, I'm yours. Like take me, I'm yours. Why did I settle for a man from Sunderland? We'll never know. So I digress. So I thought he was so cool, because it was the first time I had ever spoken to anybody who liked all the same music as me. He was really into books. I'm really into reading as well, and it was all like classical novels, which I was like, oh damn, you intelligent. Like I'm vibing with your big juicy brain. Like I loved him. I thought he was class, and I had a crush on him, and everybody else in the shop knew I was crushing on him. I would just follow this man around like a lost puppy, and I thought he had no interest in me, because obviously there was a bit of an age gap, and he had a girlfriend. And I was like, yeah, he definitely doesn't like me. And then we went to like this retail awards, which Durham has every year, and we were sat next to each other on the table. And this is such like a 2000s thing, but he was like, can I have your like BBM code? Can you remember BBM? Can you remember?
I remember BBMs.
Did you have a BlackBerry as well?
I had a BlackBerry, like, because everyone was so into BlackBerries. And then, I went instantly from BlackBerry to iPhone straight away.
How the hell did our fat fingers do the buttons? The buttons were
small.
tiny,
There was a
weren't they?
There was a few like that. There was like BBM. I want to say like Kick.
Yeah.
Was that what that was? Yeah,
Kick,
that was one of them.
Yeah, I remember. God, that's a throwback, isn't it? I forgot about Kick. Oh God, all the trauma's just coming back to me now. Kick, awful. But yeah, that is such a 2000 thing. This was 2012, by the way. So like BlackBerries were all arranged before iPhones came out. Like BlackBerries were like the iPhones like of their time, basically.
I think it's already been out, but there was a film about like the rise and fall of BlackBerry recently.
That's so sad, isn't it? Do you know what? I genuinely hope, guys, whoever's running BlackBerry, if like you are ever thinking about starting it up again, I will absolutely invest in getting one because I absolutely loved it. My fingers, I think, are too fat to use it now, so please make the keys a little bit bigger.
It wouldn't surprise me if they came back in fashion or a similar phone because everything's going round in circles. But we seem to be coming back round to like late 90s, early 2000s.
I mean, look how I'm dressed.
Yeah.
Look at my partial mullet, man.
The other day, I saw a couple of girls out in matching like velvety tracksuits with Juicy across the bum.
I've got one at home. Slay. I love that.
I haven't seen those forever. So.
Yeah, I seen it in TK Maxx. It was like a bright green one. My husband hates it because he says I look like a mob wife in it, but I was like, whatever. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent because we love nostalgia here, but he asked me for my BBM, like, I don't know, it was like a code or something like that, and I'm proper cringing, man, because, like, can you remember how, like, Adventure Time was massive?
Yeah.
My name on it was Lady Rainicorn. I was like, how's this man, like, 25, gonna, think when he pops a bloody Lady Rainicorn, had all these, like, little emojis and stuff after it.
X heart, dash, Rainicorn,
yeah,
dash,
literally, when you're, like, a bit, like, seen and stuff, which
Forever.
I was. Yeah, it's so embarrassing.
Rawr.
Yeah, oh my MySpace was
Really?
But yeah, so he added me on BBM, and I just thought, oh, he's just being nice. It's probably like for work stuff, because I'd been really badly bullied at school, man. I just thought nobody that good looking and nice and who has a girlfriend is never going to take any interest in me. Oh, my friend, how wrong I was. If only I could take the TARDIS and go back in time, like. You're an idiot. You are a very stupid little person. But he BBM'd me one day and was just like, oh, like, do you wanna come over, like, me flat? Like, I've got some, like, books and stuff. Like, would you like to borrow them? And he told us the books. I was like, oh yeah, like, absolutely, because I hadn't read them before. This was before the times of the Kindle and stuff when you could actually smell books and stuff like that. I loved it. Smell the books. So he lived in Durham City Centre, and at the time, I was living just outside in a little mining village that you won't know called Sacriston. Sacriston was a sort of place, right? It literally made LA's Skid Row look like a classy and wonderful place to raise like a family. Like, that's how like scruffy it was. So I made the way on the bus from Sacriston into like the city centre. I walked miles. I must have walked about 3 miles in my little Converses with my backpack on, man. Honestly, it's so sad when you think about it. And I went to his flat. And I know at the time he was like sharing with somebody else. And he basically told us this guy was like super like religious and always like used to go to church. So said like, oh, he won't be in and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool, no problem. So went in the flat, seen him, took my shoes off at the door like, a regular civilized person, went in, and we did like talk about like the books and stuff like that. And then he absolutely shocked me by just straight up confessing his love. Oh. And I was just like, I beg your pardon. I was really taken back, but I was so flattered because no man had given me the time of day before, especially one that was like really good looking and had a nice poetic tone to their voice. I was like, damn, nice. But so he like confessed his love and we kissed and dot, as they say in Mamma Mia, which it could be implied to be many things, but I don't kiss and tell. But yeah, we heard this like knock at the door And then he was like, just ignore it. It's probably just like, cold callers or something. And then we heard like a key open the door and we were like, oh my God. Like it was his roommate back. And now his roommate, obviously being, I think, a little bit religious as well, was definitely going to be a grass because you're forgetting the important detail. He had a girlfriend. And the girlfriend used to come over the flat all the time. So this guy would have absolutely have outed him straight away. So I was crapping myself because, important detail, I took my shoes off at the front door. So there was a little tiny pair of size 3 Converse, which definitely didn't belong to his girlfriend because she was quite tall and athletic. And I felt awful because I'd met her and she was actually really nice. So I felt like a right scumbag and I was like, oh my God. So he was like, wait here, like in his room. And he's like, I'm going to go out and like essentially like distract him and I'll go and get your shoes. So I heard him talking to him and like they had a little shared kitchen. I heard him like grab the shoes and like come into the room and he was like, I don't even know how I'm going to smuggle you out of here. And I was just like, what do you mean? Smuggle me out? Like, can I not just leave through the front door? Like, surely he'll go to his room soon and then just walk me to the door and let me out. And he was just like, no, honestly, like he'll basically like tell me girlfriend that like I've had you like in like the room and stuff. So this guy lived on like a second like story flat. So it wasn't like the bottom floor, but it was the floor above. And he went to me, you're going to have to leave out the window. And I was like, are you absolutely having a laugh? He wanted me to open the window, which I could barely fit out of, jump out of the window onto like this wall, which was strategically somehow placed outside. I'm starting to think he just planted it there for all of his escapades to...
Here's this rope made of sheets I've pre-made. Just like, here you go.
It was all...
Off you pop.
It was all a bit orchestrated and it was just a bit strange.
Yeah.
And at the time, I mean, being 28 years old now, I would have been like, absolutely not. It's your fault. You've got a girlfriend. You've tantalised me. I am leaving. Screw you and your books.
You've lured me in with all these books.
Yeah, I will do anything for a book. A good book, apparently. I am terrible for a book. So, being 18, I was an absolute idiot. What do you think I did next? Did I A, leave sensibly through the door, or B, launch myself out the window in a Miles Morales style onto the wall?
I want to say B. I'm hoping you did like a flip as well. Like,
it was worse than
Spider-Man.
that. Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd been as graceful as Spider-Man and threw myself out the window and was like on the wall. But no, it was the total opposite. So I had a big heavy backpack on, had really awkward slippy Converse shoes on. It had been raining, so I jumped like a flying squirrel out of this window like this. I missed the wall. I fell off the wall and twisted my ankle.
Wow.
And it was really, really sore. And then had to walk 3 miles on a twisted ankle back to the bus station. And I got home and I just remember my mum being like, you all right? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And just like went to my room.
Limp through the door.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
Literally like twigs in my hair, two black eyes and a broken nose. Honestly, mate, I went to my room and I like cried because I was at work the next day with them.
Oh.
And we had to pretend that nothing happened. And I mean, I'm really lucky because he actually left and he got like some sort of like journalist job. So good for you. You've won. What a sad life, Jane. Congratulations. I had a twisted ankle, possibly a broken bones that just fixed themselves, but I couldn't go to the hospital because my mum would know I'd been up to like all sorts of tricks behind her back.
I was doing parkour. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been lying by saying I was doing parkour, but to this day, I don't even know if I can say that was a date. It was a book booty call, really.
I love the thought of you telling mum that you do parkour and then having to prove that you do parkour. Just like outside trying to do like a cartwheel, like parkour.
I was not the sort of person, I think, to attempt exercise, let alone do cartwheels. Hence why I was straight up out of breath walking 3 miles to this guy's house. Did you know what the worst part was? I didn't even get any books. It was all for nothing. I did it all for the books and I got nothing out of it. So to this day, that has definitely been the worst date like I've ever been on. So try and beat that. You can't.
My God, that's going to be a hard call.
Yeah, it is, because it's the story. It is like, do you know like when you play top trumps and there's always that trump that's got like the best stat? That is my top trump when it comes to dating stories. I'm like, boom, game over. How do you beat that? You can't.
No.
You can't beat it. How are you going to beat it then? Luke now has to make one up because he can't physically beat that.
I've got two stories. I've got the one I remembered during my last little tangent.
Oh.
And then one I'll end on.
I like this. Is this going to be the showstopper?
I don't know, but I'm intrigued by your reaction. So the one I thought of earlier on.
Okay.
It was during COVID.
Right.
I think things have been lifted again because I was able to book to go somewhere for the date.
You're just saying that because you were breaking lockdown rules.
No, it was because it was mini golf in like one of these like new mini golf things that pop up in like a bar type thing.
Right.
But like everything had been planned. We've been chatting for a while. It's going great. And I booked to do mini golf. I thought, well, it's inside. There'll be restrictions. We can chat, have a drink, whatever. I want to say 2 hours before the date. I get the message of, oh, my friend needs me. I'll get back to you later on.
They love doing this to you. You get played all the time.
And then I'm assuming either something was up or they'd planned something, because I got sent a screenshot, a very convincing conversation screenshot.
One of those.
I was like, okay.
Was it like Blue Peter, here's something I made earlier?
Yeah, he's
pre-orchestrated.
He's Tracy Island from the Thunderbirds. But so I was like, well, fine, whatever. And then an hour goes by, not heard anything, and I didn't drive at the time, so I needed to go. It would have been like a 45-minute trip to the Gulf for me.
Right, okay. Oh God.
But so like it gets to around then, nothing. It's like I'll try calling, nothing. Just rings. In the end, I was like, well, this is a lost cause. I've probably just been sacked off.
Oh.
So never heard anything after that. And then I think it must have been like half a year, maybe. Like hadn't heard anything. Part of me's like, did she just die? Like,
did she pass away?
Did she pass away on the way to her mates or something?
Can you imagine if she actually did? You were calling this girl.
You literally cancel whatever, as long as I know like you're alive.
As long as I know you're dead.
Yeah. As long as I've seen an obituary or if you're alive, fine.
Either way, it's
if
good.
It's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Dead or alive.
Yeah.
Wanted dead
you're
or alive.
You're going on the date, dead or alive. No. But then like I want to say maybe Snapchat or something like that. It says like your contacts who you can add. She popped up because she was saved in my phone, and I was like,
right.
I'm gonna test this.
I'm gonna shoot my shot, see if you're dead.
Yeah, I added it. Got added back. And I messaged her.
She wasn't dead. It was
she
a ghost.
She wasn't dead.
Oh my God.
So I messaged me like, oh, you are alive, and then she replied like question marks. I was like, cool, delete. Like, I'm happy. I know like.
That is such a dirty trick. Do you know what? She probably didn't even remember who the hell you were.
Probably not, no.
She was probably thinking, who's this weirdo that's like added me? I'm a ghost now. I've died. Leave me alone. Let me rest in my eternal peace in the afterlife.
Try to rest. But yeah, like that's probably one of the few ghosting stories I've had like pre-date, besides the one I told earlier.
Ah, right, okay.
The other story.
The top trump. Your top trump.
Hopefully a top trump. So there was this girl at uni. I think we met, it was around like, I think the royal wedding, because we had...
The royal wedding? Which one? Harry or Will?
Will. It was a big deal about it. Like we went like a day off and stuff, because we were at the like student pub and they'd done like a big party and there was all sorts going on.
I was at the hairdresser's that day.
Oh.
Just a bit of interesting information.
Like, make me look like Diana.
That was
just for him.
That was the goal I was going for. Lady Di. Why not? The people's princess. Love that for me.
And at the pub, met this girl. Then a week later, we bump into each other at a club.
All
We're
right.
both a bit drunk. Start kissing. Takes me back to hers.
Oh?
And and that's obviously a bit of canoodling.
Not canoodling. That's so rude.
But then midway through, I looked down and was like, condoms disappeared.
Oh! No! Was she wearing it or you?
Well, I had it on, but she might have been don't know where it went afterwards. And I remember being like,
No.
where's it gone? Like, I couldn't find it in the bed. Like,
Oh my God. Was it? I don't want to ask, was it?
don't know. I have no clue where it went to this day.
I am absolutely gagged. What did you do? What did she say?
I think because we were a bit drunk, I think things...
It was fine.
Well, I think things just sort of continued. I think
All right. Okay.
I think I looked for a second one.
Safety first.
But yeah, I was just like in this sort of drunk state, like, where's this gone?
I mean, to be fair, you're more sensible than me because had I been drunk, you could have been an alien. I would have get.
I mean, I remember her saying like she's on
Like
on protection anyway, and like, I
that
do.
old chestnut.
Well, like, I prefer using protection anyway, even if both are.
You
but-
absolutely should to prevent against STIs and STDs from Dr. Stevenson here. But yeah, that is so true. So were you like pure panicking the next day?
Well, it was a bit like, because after a while, like, things sort of continued and then we just sort of stopped and went to bed. And then I think I struggled to sleep, so like at like 4 or 5 in the morning, I just like was like, yeah, I'm gonna go home. Like,
I'm
walked
gonna
home.
flee the scene
But,
now.
yeah, to this day, I've no clue what happened to that condom. Where it went, if it was in the bed, I couldn't see it. But
So how many years ago was that? So that was 2011, the royal wedding. How many years would that have been?
12, 13 years now.
So somewhere out there you have a teenage kid walking around.
Yeah, I think I would have known by now. We have bumped into each other on occasions, and I don't recall seeing a little sprog.
She hides the kid
Yeah.
from you. She's just like, quick, get behind me. Oh my God, that is so bad.
I don't know if that trumps your story, but
Yeah, for me personally, I would say out of jumping out of a window or losing a condom, I would absolutely say losing the condom even, not using it. Well, technically not using it.
Not using and losing.
Oh, that is absolutely awful. Do you know what? I'm going to give the crown of worst day ever to you today because that has left me absolutely speechless. One more thing as well before we go, we would absolutely love to hear any like sort of worst date stories that you have, or even if you just want to ask any stupid questions because you've got the absolute privilege of having a married person and a single person doing this podcast. So if you'd love to get in touch with us, you can contact us on YouTube, Twitter. Obviously, all of the links are like below, like in the video. So please, if you want to ask anything, we want to do like an agony aunt, or for me, agony grunkle episode in the future. So please get your questions sent in. We'll answer them sort of best we can. But I think that's all we've got time for today.
That is. So I think for the next episode, because we've touched on things today.
Yeah.
We're going to sort of talk about school and a bit of nostalgia.
Nostalgia episode.
I think we've plucked at things during this conversation. So I think that'll be a good place to start next time.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely opened up lots of things that I do want to talk about because I think we definitely need to continue the BBM saga.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for watching and hopefully
you.
we shall see you next time. Catch you there, guys.